Hey, I thought I would just do another quick tip on organizing stuff in Ableton since I seem to be on a kick of getting everything looking nice and being nicely organized. After about 15 years of using Ableton, I thought it was about time that I streamlined my workflow just a bit. So, another thing that I wanted to organize better were the samples that I've collected over time, the samples, the one shots, the this, the that's. Doing my plugins was already a long task that took a good few hours. My samples collection is orders of magnitude larger than my plugins collection. I'm just going to show you dead quickly, first of all, where I put my samples folder, second of all, what I use to get it looking organized and super useful. So, in my documents folder, I have an Ableton folder. I have two Ableton folders actually. I have one that's Ableton Projects, which is where I save all my music stuff that I'm working on, and one called Ableton, which was installed by the installer itself. And in here, you can see we've got factory packs, live recordings, my personal plugins folder, which I explain in another video, and the user library. And inside user library, you have all this stuff. And you can see this here, you got clips, backup, grooves, MIDI files, presets, and this one that we're looking at, the samples folder. Now this is where I keep all of my samples. If I get a new sample pack, I unzip it straight into here. I make a small effort to keep this together, but as you can see, not really, not in the slightly intense way that I tend to organize things. So if I just go back one, you can see that this structure here is reflected under user library in Ableton. You've got backup, clips, default grooves, presets, and samples. And if I just click and drop, you can see all the samples that I moved to that folder are then reflected here in samples under user library. What I've also done to speed up my process by probably only fractions of a second is to do add folder there, go to my Ableton user library samples folder, and just add it here in this side window so that instead of going click, 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 I can just go click times one and I'm in there. The option that I tend to use the most is actually a free plugin called ADSR Sample Manager. And this thing is great because it sort of auto detects by sound, by tag, and automatically scans and organizes the plugin folder that you direct it to. So there's an option when you first start it up to tell ADSR where the sample folder is that you want it to use. And as you can see here, I haven't done any of this. You can see it's split according to some code that it uses all of the samples that I've got into all these different categories which previously you saw just didn't exist. So the structure that was existing in the folder already is completely ignored here, and instead look, you can see laughing, it doesn't always get it right as you can see or hear rather, but it mostly does. And you have the option as well, like within this, to reorganize stuff where it's a hit or a miss. But you know, lo-fi for example, like it's got all the drum samples that I took from a lo-fi sample pack, some lo-fi melodies that I got from Cymatic that exist completely elsewhere, metal. I've still got lo-fi open, so you can click, bring up the samples, you can have multiple tags open at the time, See here, nature. Again, it's because the word trees in the title. I know the examples that I've been pulling up there have all been misses, but I promise you, when I use this, it tends to mostly be on the money. So if I already know the folder and kind of sample that I'm looking for, it's quite easy to just search for it or to go into my sample folder there. But if I'm looking for something a bit different, and I just know broadly what kind of sample, what flavor of sample I want to use, then I can just go into this, and it makes it much easier to use samples that I might not have before. It's a free plugin. I literally just went to ADSR Sample Manager in Google. You can see here I've already been there. Totally free plugin. You just go to the home page here. It's the first search result when you type in ADSR Sample Manager, and you just click free. Excuse all the schmutz coming off of my head as I scratch myself. I really need to shower. So yeah, once you get onto the website, it's very obvious where to get the free sample manager. You download it, install it, add it to your samples folder. Samples folder? Don't add it to your samples folder. Add it to your plugin folder. Open up Ableton again, or if it's already open, just rescan your plugins, and there you go. So for me, those are the ways that I organize my samples, one-shots, sound effects, etc. Good luck. Hey, so I just wanted to add a quick note at the end of this video to clarify I'm really only very much skimming the surface of what that ADSR sample manager can do. I just wanted to give a quick, short kind of hint or tip that I find useful for just categorizing and organizing my samples in such a way that I'm more likely to be more adventurous with my use of them, you know, rather than scrolling through big folder packs and things. You know, I know for instance that that tool makes it very easy to drag and drop samples and implement them and do all kinds of other things. But I think that, you know, if you're on Ableton, you're the problem solver type anyway. So I'm just going to point you in the direction with this where you can get it, and it's up to you, I guess, to figure out the rest of it, because that's just not the kind of thing that I'm doing right now. Plus, my dinner's behind me steaming away, and I'm going to take care of that. So, happy sampling.